and welcome to Hot Money on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is the show which gives you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts then Aditya Agarwala of Securities, Amit Shah of Indiabulls Ventures, and Kunal Rambhia of The Street join me on the show. Before we begin the show with our analyst, let's bring in Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Batta. Good afternoon, Yash. What does the chart indicate?
So there's a sell call coming in on Batta. Batta has been one of the FMCG companies which has bucked the trend when it comes to the most other players. The stock has been continuously rising, and as you can see, it has gone from the levels of close to around 1300 all the way up to 1470 now. But this is the mark wherein historically twice it has come up to these levels and has given up on those gains. As you could see, the white line over here, that marks the resistance, and twice it has come to these levels in just the span of last 6 months. In the last 1 year, and we've seen that every time it has come to these levels, we've seen weakness come in. The lower panel that shows the stochastics indicator as well. The stochastics, as you know, is a trend following momentum oscillator. There too we've seen a negative crossover happening. So the blue line over here, that has given a negative crossover, and that has happened above the line of 80, which is the red line over here, indicating an early sell signal coming into Batta. Even today we are seeing strength in the counter, but at higher levels the stock is not managing to hold on to that mark, and from the day's high it has come off slightly, but watch out for Batta because there could be some amount of weakness coming in at the higher levels.
Okay, thanks so much for that. Yeah, so what are we seeing, Aditya? What's your sense on Batta?
I generally don't want to disappoint Yash, but there is too much of strength in the stock.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to go ahead and short at the moment because, as Yash also pointed out, it's showing too much of strength. It's at a resistance of 1480. Okay. So until unless I see a negative closing, I won't go short. There is a.
Would you buy? Would you buy, or
no,
would you stay away?
I would stay away from Batta. Probably if I'm holding on to it, I would book 40-50% of my profits of my holding because I'm sitting at a resistance without a doubt, and use balance 50% to buy again on correction.
Okay, Amit, what's your sense on Batta?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is near that zone of that resistance zone, but frankly, it's still not showing any signs of weakness. So I would actually, it's a no trade zone for me. In fact, if it breaks out, I would actually look to buy the stock.
What level?
I mean, once it sustains above 1480, I would actually look to buy. And if at all someone wants to short, I would only short below 1440. That would give me some confirmation that yes, some correction is probably setting in now.
Okay, Kunal, what's your sense?
So now looking at the weekly chart of Batta, this is the first week when it's trying to close near to 1470 mark since April. So if at all the closing comes near to this level, certainly next week we can jump in and buy the counter, keeping the stop loss of around 1.5-2%. It can be a new rally from here itself.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Batta. I think divergent views coming in from what the Bloomberg terminal did throw up with what our guests are talking about at this point of time. So that was the first talk, that was Batta. But the first chart is on Apollo Hospitals. That was Aditya has on the list. Remember, Apollo came out with a strong set of numbers. It's rallied over 10% in the last 2 trading session. The big breakout is there. It's trading at almost record highs. In fact, it's trading at lifetime high. You believe this rally will continue?
I believe yes. From the time I'd initiated the call, it's already above 40-45 points. So as you clearly see, there's a clear breakout from this channel flag, bullish flag pattern. So what we had witnessed is a rally from these levels. This formed a pole, and then we had a bullish flag pattern, a consolidation, beautiful consolidation, and then we have a breakout, and which is backed by volumes as well. So we have a breakout from the bullish flag pattern backed by extremely healthy volumes. As you can clearly see, the 2 volume bars, which is surpassing the consolidation volume bars. So this tells you that there is strength in the breakout. Plus, if we take a look at the RSI, coming back to the chart, price chart pattern, if I take a look at the RSI, this has beautifully taken support at the 40 level, which is the lower end of the bull support zone. So there is immense strength in the stock without a doubt, and as you pointed out, they've come out with good set of results. I believe the up move will continue to levels of 1550. It will make new all-time highs. 1500, I guess, was the previous life high for the stock. It should cross that. One can use minor dips, intraday corrections to get into the stock around 1400 to about 1410. Good levels to get into the stock for targets of 1500, 1550 on the upside. Can put a stop somewhere around 1320.
Should they buy at this level also, 1440?
Yes, definitely. I believe this is a strong breakout backed by volumes. So this should continue its rally in coming weeks as well.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Aditya. Amit, what's your sense on Apollo Hospitals?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually one of my favorite stocks as well. And this was, one of our last Diwali picks, Diwali to Diwali, covered somewhere around 1100. So yeah, I mean, there's a strong momentum going in for the stock. It's doing all the right right things. I guess at least a test of previous all-time highs of around 1540 should definitely be on the cards.
Okay, so second thumbs up that's coming in, third thumbs up for you, Kunal.
So right from 2016, this stock was under a curve formation, and right now the stock is reaching the same high, which is around 1475 to 1500. So yeah, certainly buy on dip kind of stock. I think once we may get the opportunity to buy near 1350, that would be the ideal level to enter.
And not at this level.
Not at this level.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Apollo Hospital. I think the consensus view is a bullish call that's coming in on the counter. Next up is Amit. He has a chart on Berger Paints. Now remember, paints as a sector did extremely well when the entire consumption theme didn't do well. Counters like Berger, Apollo, even counters like a Shalimar Paint or an AkzoNobel came out with good set of numbers. So the entire paint segment, Kansai also pretty much surprised, which still has a higher industrial exposure. But paints, yes, Berger Paints. Why bullish on Berger Paints?
Actually, you rightly said that the sector itself is seeing a lot of push on the upside, and especially in a market like this where there's a lot of fear. The paint industry itself is standing out, so there is definitely a sector push. Now, if we see, this is a nice symmetrical triangle which has held for, and that to near highs, So around these fresh all-time highs, the stock has consolidated for exactly almost 1 year, and now we have seen good strong volumes, a strong breakout. Industry is also there's a tailwind in the industry which gives you more confidence in the breakout which has happened. I would look for a test around these levels, which is 335 kind of a zone, to actually get into a long position. We have a target of about 424 on the upside. For Berger Paints.
Don't buy now, 360?
One can buy, but dips are always a good opportunity to go long. One can partially also see whenever a breakout happens. You never know whether a retest of the pattern happens. Sometimes it might just straight away reach the target. So you never know what's going to happen. But if dips are there, one should definitely utilize the dips to go long. And otherwise, someone can initiate 50% long here and maybe 50% on decline and wait for the target.
Is this looking a stronger chart than Asian Paints also?
Yes, I would say so. The setup is quite nice. It gives you a proper objective-based targets.
Because people would like to trade more in an FNO based stock. That's why people would prefer an Asian Paint. So
I guess Berger is also in FNO, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this one is a nice setup. Paint industry itself is doing good, but this is a very good setup. I would actually, so basically what here is happening is you are getting in at the early stage of the breakout. So there's a good headroom on the upside.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Amit. Kunal, Berger Paints, what's your sense?
So yes, multi-year breakout near 340 mark, and once that breakout came in, the stock really spiked up significantly. So certainly there has to be a retesting for the multi-year rally to begin. Something near to 345, 350 would be an ideal level to go long on the counter. Avoid trading in futures and options because this counter can literally deliver 40-50% in just no time.
Okay, what's your sense, Aditya, on Berger Paints?
So the real bodies after a rally post breakout is diminishing now. So I would wait for a minor correction. Obviously, there's a healthy breakout, and chart patterns do suggest that there will be a continuation. But on a minor correction or a dip, probably I'll get into the stock.
Yeah, I think so. That's the consensus view. Buy on dips. Overall, the chart pattern looks good for Berger Paints. The next chart is from Kunal, who has a chart on the Nifty Bank. Remember, Nifty is trading at days high. It's moved into the green. The Nifty Bank is up almost 100 points at this point of time. 28,130 is where the Nifty Bank is. What's your strategy? Why should one buy Nifty Bank at this point of time?
So this is reiterating the discussion which was on 8th of June on the Hot Money show, where we discussed about the rising wedge formation, and Nifty was exactly moving in this rising wedge formation. At that point of time, it was trading near to 32,000, where we gave a sell recommendation with the target of 28,500. The only reason behind that was the Nifty was making a double top on the weekly chart, and at the same time it was near to the supply zone. Right from that level, we saw a massive correction till 27,000. Now that 27,000 mark is exactly at the support level itself. So going with the same consensus, the same view itself, that if this rising wedge formation continues on the higher side, we may see a bottom formation near to this zone itself, and the rally of around 4,000 points from this level seems likely. This is extremely positional view. But at the same time, whenever this rising wedge formation breaks on the lower side, the support level would be say around 27,000. Below this, we can expect a 3,000 to 3,500 points fall.
So what's the strategy? It's at 28,100, 150 right now for a round figure. What should one do? What level should one buy? and till what level should they keep on accumulating?
Correct. So what we can do is we can think of accumulating near say 27,500 mark to 27,000 mark, because we are playing for 3,500 to 4,000 points on the upside. On the lower side, say 500 point would be the stop loss, and at the same time, if the stop loss is triggered below 27,000, go short on the counter, expect 3,000 to 3,500 points dip level, which is this support zone.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Kunal. Aditya, what's your sense on the Nifty Bank?
There is some strength in trade today, definitely. It has crossed previous days high as well, and from what Kunal showed, it is at a trendline support also from the wedge. I wouldn't go for too long a trade. Probably my initial targets will be 28,500 about 28,800 in the vicinity of that area. I believe it can again face some resistance till the 200 DMA, which is around 28,800. I would take a long.
Okay, what's your sense, Amit?
Yeah, what we are seeing is we have already fall. I mean, there's a quite steep fall already, and now since past few sessions, what we are seeing is markets are not reacting on the downside. I mean, though the energy to move up is still not there, but at least the selling looks quite dry on the downside. And yes, it's near the trend line support on the monthly scale also, if you see. So my sense is we are heading towards 29,000. We anyway have a positive view on the markets as well. We are expecting Nifty also to test 11,400 to 11,500 kind of a zone. So that's a sizable, but just a relief rally, but a sizable one on the upside.
Okay, so I think it's a consensus bullish call that's coming in on the Nifty Bank. Let's start with the second round. Aditya has a chart on Divi's Lab. Remember, the counter came out with numbers and it corrected massively post the numbers. What's the sense now? Where do you see the counter headed?
So from what I see on the chart, this was an upward sloping trend line which the stock has still protected. So that the longer term trend is still biased towards the up. But from what I look at the medium term trend, what I see is a head and shoulders breakdown. Now head and shoulders breakdown is a bearish pattern, and this has formed at the top of the trend. As you can clearly see, the trend started from here somewhere around 2016, mid 2016, and it continued till 1800, and around 1800 it formed a head. So this is the shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder again. Now it has broken down from the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern, and today is the weekly close. This is a weekly chart. Today will be the weekly close. If we close below this neckline, so it's a confirmed breakdown from head and shoulders
What's
pattern.
the level you will watch for today?
So today probably 1520 to about 1525 30. That is the neckline zone
On the spot.
on the spot. So if it continues to close below this, this is a confirmed breakdown, and one can expect a test of this trend line, which is around 1375 in the coming trading weeks. There's ample weakness out here. Plus, if I take a look at the RSI again, RSI showed a negative divergence, as you can clearly see. Now, what is a negative divergence? RSI makes a lower high, whereas price continues to make a higher high. If we switch on to the price chart, we'll see price continue to make a higher high, whereas RSI made a lower high out here. Price made a higher high, RSI made a lower high. This tells you that the bulls were losing steam. So there was weakness coming into the counter. So clearly, one can look to short at current levels, add on to shorts in the futures on pullback to levels of 1520, 1525, put a stop somewhere around 1570, 75, and look for a target of 1375 on the downside.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Aditya. Amit, what's your sense on Divi's Lab 1500?
Yeah, this is exactly what I was looking at on my charts a couple of days back, So probably with the same view, I mean, I've been quite bearish on pharma for a while now, and I don't see any reason to change that view. In fact, autos, pharma, these are the big laggards on the down. I mean, they're the outperformers on the downside. So yes, I think once it confirms and stays below, 1470, 1480 on a closing basis for some sessions, I think it's headed towards 1250 at least on the downside. And I think mine also, there's one chart coming up next, which is a bearish call on again the pharma index. So I mean pharma stock. So basically, yes, pharma is not doing well, and there's no evidence of any strength coming back into the sector.
Okay, Kunal, what's your sense?
So rising wedge on the weekly chart and clearly distribution near to the top. So first target on a very conservative basis will be say 1350, and below that again there can be a free fall till 1100 also.
Okay, that's the view, consecutive views that are coming in. Negative views on Divi's Lab. Next up is Amit with his chart on Lupin. Again, you said that you're not positive on pharma. I'm assuming this will be a sell.
True. Yeah. So You know, across the pharma, what we are seeing is there's a lot of weakness. You know, a lot of money is definitely, you know, strong money is still moving out even at these levels. So definitely, you know, people are not seeing good times for the sector. Here, what you're seeing is a steep downside. You know, I mean, it's a clear downtrend. Again, you know, this range, it did try to break around this range, but then again has just faltered and remained around the lower levels. On the shorter time frame also, if you see, it has sort of given a small triangle breakdown. I'm expecting this range to be broken on the downside. There's headwind anyway for the entire pharma sector. I'm expecting, and there's no you know, buying interest. If you just see, it's just meandering around this zone on the downside. There's there's no buying interest. There's no strong hands coming in even at the support levels, which indicates the underlying weakness in the stock. So I would look to short the stock. I have a target of 575 eventually on the downside. The first target would be 650.
Okay, that's the view. Thank you so much for that. Amit, Aditya, what's the sense, Lupin?
There is weakness in the stock, though it is at the support level of 720, 724. That has continued to act as a support for quite some time. From 2018, stock hasn't closed below 720 levels. So that is an immediate support. If that is taken out on the downside, I'll clearly go short below 720 for targets of
only below 720. You'll
below
go short,
720. I'll wait for the stock to break 720 on the downside, because that has been acting as a strong support for quite some time.
Okay, Kunal, what's your sense?
Yes, I will even you know, wait for the counter to close below 720 to 715 mark. That's been the support zone. At the lower side, we can expect the counter to reach 650 mark.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Negative view on Lupin. And the final chart, at least from a guest, is Kunal's view on JSW Steel. Steel as a sector did manage to disappoint the street with its earning, but let's see why. But it's a bullish call that's coming in. Yes, too many lines, but yeah, explain.
Correct. So, you know, if you look at the entire formation right from the bottom, the stock rallied significantly till around 435, 440 mark. I was extremely bullish near to these zones also, but again, that did not pan out well. What we are seeing right now is the correction, which is exactly halting at the green line, which is 61.8% retracement level. At the same time, last week turned out to be a doji near to that level, so that's turning bullish. Third is the green candle, or say bullish candle, which is getting formed on the chart right now. If I look at the RSI is making double bottom. If we zoom into the chart, we can see that the RSI made the previous bottom, and the recent bottom is also extremely oversold near to that zone itself. Coming back on the chart, formation wise, right from the top to bottom, we have falling wedge getting formed. The line for that is equal to the 61.8 retracement level itself, and these three lines which you can see on the chart are actually of Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Band has a rule of trading saying that if the plotting is outside the Bollinger Bands and the next plotting is within that, we expect the target of 270. So keeping all things in mind, this stock is well poised for the reversal. Keeping the stop loss of 205, one can think of going long. On the higher side, 270 and 320 cannot be ruled out.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on JSW Steel. Very quickly, we'll go to our guest. Amit, what's your sense on JSW Steel?
Yeah, I mean, metals have been weak. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, if it can close above 235, then I think some relief rally towards 250 to 255 zone does seem likely.
Okay, and what's your sense?
I'll go in for a buy in JSW Steel. It's formed a bullish ABC pattern as well, taken support at exactly 178.6%, which is around 209. And if it starts to trade above 228, which is previous week's high, definitely I'll go ahead with a buy call on this. Targets will be 240 immediately, and then the next target will be 270.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on JSW Steel. We have a management waiting. That's why we have to end this show. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Hot Money. Let me thank my guests for coming in today. Aditya, Amit, Kunal, thank you so much for coming in today. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.